Why do we seek security? Welcome to Remind Us. My name is Aiden. What I'd like to talk about today is actually a false sense of security. We are seeking security in hopes that we are not going to get hurt, in hopes that we will not be disappointed, in hopes that nothing unexpected will happen. We seek security so we can safely move forward. The reason I'm talking about a false sense of security is because I have noticed, and even for myself in my own life, we ask questions so often simply because we are having insecure thoughts in ourselves. I will give you a very simple example, and this happened to me throughout my life, on and off. Silly example, the dentist. I would always get nervous when I had to go to the dentist, even as a child. Like when I was a kid, one of my back molars was just rotting in my mouth for no particular reason. Just one random dude. It was like completely hollowed out. Like food would get stuck in all the time, but it didn't hurt at all, which was very strange. Even the dentist was baffled how that was a thing. So we just concluded it was a dead tooth that just grew in there dead. But then it was shot up with Novocaine and they pulled it out. And I remember that hurting quite a bit back then. So much so that I started strongly disliking the dentist. Like, I don't even think I had a checkup until that point. Like, it was instantly in the chair for quote unquote torture. So, needless to say, from then on, I had lots of questions before I walked into the dentist office. Um, my second experience was actually in an accidental elbow that got rammed into my face in school, and one of my front tooth broke in half. Again, to the dentist, and now this tooth just needed a root canal, and they would just cement, a partial fake tooth on there, not a golden crown or nothing. So same thing, that root canal, all I got was Novocaine, and it just hurted the whole way through. I don't know why. Like they always say Novocaine is supposed to numb everything. I don't know, but I still felt way more than I was comfortable with. So you see, at that point in my life, I was I don't know if I was insecure about the dentist, but I was just very anxious, very nervous every time I had any pain in my mouth, and I would always keep putting it off. Like I'm not going to the dentist unless the pain in my mouth is becoming unbearable. But here's what I noticed: when the pain became very bad, I was very self confident that I was going to go to the dentist to have the pain taken care of, to have the issue resolved. So I had very little questions. I was in so much pain that the dentist was a natural answer to me. I mean, if you're in dental pain, that's the person you go see, a dentist. But when the dentist told me you need to come in for a cleaning more often, you need to come in for these tiny little cavities, although they didn't even hurt me at all, I understood that they were just doing their job. Their job is to keep your teeth nice, healthy, clean, trouble free. But in my head, the dentist was a miserable place. And unless my mouth was more miserable than what I get at the dentist, I was just not willing to listen to it. It didn't matter what they did in my mouth, it was always nerve wracking to me. So every time these conversations came up in the dentist chair, I would start asking questions, like so many. And in hindsight, they're all dumb questions. They just said your teeth need cleaned more often and cavities need filled, however tiny. And I just didn't care because these things didn't hurt in my mouth. But yes, I would ask so many questions, like how much is it gonna cost? Is my insurance gonna cover this? Like these are all very valid questions, but in the end, I kind of already knew all the answers to these questions. So what was I really doing? Just trying to validate for myself why I should do this, whether I need it or not. Somebody said it's a good idea. but I was too insecure to even listen to their, professional medical opinions. Now it's different. Now I'm an adult. I'm 38, and I think for myself. Yes, I get it. These people went to school for years and years to, do dental work to the best of their ability, no doubt. But my life, for me, the only thing that is of some importance to me is personal comfort. I don't want to have a crisp, smooth, clean, healthy, zero issues body. I just want to be comfortable. That's enough for me. Like, what more do I want? A good, vibrant life. That's what all I'm asking for. If my teeth aren't hurting me, I'm fine. So it's a bit of a long example there, a dental work, but the subject here is false sense of security. Every time things have happened in our past, we built up a mental, emotional memory related to whatever happened. If you were in a physically abusive relationship, it is almost natural that your emotional memory system is going to relate everything that has to do with the potential of a relationship with the past. What does that mean? Every time you start feeling close to somebody, you're not in a relation, you're just thinking about it, there is a very high chance you are going to be on high alert that this new person might be once again someone that is going to physically abuse you. And it's not just physical abuse. This can be verbal, mental, someone that's always looking over your shoulder. They don't even have to touch you or say something. If you always live with someone, even metaphorically looking over your shoulder, it is a huge stress. You don't feel like yourself. You feel like you're constantly being watched. So again, when we talk to people, and of course it's 2022, most dating nowadays starts online, little dating apps and websites, of course. So before we meet somebody, we actually want to have some sense of security. And here is what we do: we ask lots of questions that, in my opinion, are almost entirely irrelevant. All the questions you are asking or I am asking, the answers are always going to be based on the past. And here's something else you should know, and this is very logical. When you ask somebody, how are you in a relation? Like, are you, easygoing? Are you friendly? Are you passionate towards your partner? Or are you always gone in the bars and hanging out with your exes? You're trying to find out, is he a good person? Is he a red flag? What should I be looking out for? You're asking questions. That is normal. But what you are really trying to find out, and here is that false sense of security again, are you going to screw me over or are you going to make me happy? And here is the kicker: nothing that anybody says to you ever can ever be proof to satisfy your insecurity. And this is why the title is False Sense of Security. Well, that wasn't the title. I'm speaking about false sense of security because no matter what somebody says, it is never proof. The only way you can have proof is through an actual life experience. So no matter what question you ask, whether the person is truthful, he's making it up, or he is saying exactly what you want to hear, or he is speaking in a way of, okay, I really want to date this person, let me just tell them what they want to hear, and I'll get them to come over or hang out. You see, how can you ever know? We seek that sense of security to give ourselves an excuse as to why we even should come out of the house, why we should even allow ourselves to try again. Give ourselves a moment of freedom to see if it's going to be another disaster or hope for a better future. Where does insecurity actually come from? I think it always comes from the past. Things happen, you carry them for the rest of your life, and no matter what happens around you, you will always compare the things that happen around you with things that have happened in your past. It is good to be observant. It is good to think rational. But I also think it is a little dangerous that you are always living with your eyes and mind always pointing towards be suspicious. Be suspicious of everybody and everything. We all do that. But why? To avoid getting hurt again. So, what we should really learn to do is instead of asking other people all the questions, is to ask the question to ourselves first. Why was my past so terrible? Why did I not let go of these thoughts? Why did I not let go of these feelings? Why are they still haunting me? Why do I still believe everybody that I come in contact with is a potential threat to me, a potential disaster waiting to happen? So, you see, if we look in ourselves first, we will actually see that the problem isn't really people in the outside world. And yes, I know there is plenty of problems in the outside world. All I'm saying is what we need to do first is change our perspective on the outside world by going inside first. We need to learn that the past just happened. And I've said it in a previous video. If you want to let go of your past a little bit easier, instead of always thinking in ways of that happened to me, start thinking in ways of that happened for me. It makes a huge difference. Why? Because if everything happened to you, it means you had no choice in the matter. When you say things happened for you, you're already mentally telling yourself, wait, I had a choice here and I chose to become insecure. I chose to become distrusting of people. I chose to become afraid. I chose to live in fear. You see, when everything in your past gets turned over towards it happened for you, your mind suddenly gets a little light at the end of the tunnel. It sees a way out, it sees a way to look different on everything that has happened in your past. I am not saying hate yourself for what happened in the past. I am certainly not saying, well, this crappy relation happened for me. Let me just hate myself now for that. Because I did this for me, apparently. That is not what I'm saying at all. Everything that happens to us, we store it as a emotional memory. Yes, you were there and you remember every detail that happened, but I'm sorry, let's say you were physically abused, your partner would always beat you for the dumbest things. We are not really storing a print of a fist in our skin somewhere or, fingerprints on our face from a slap. We are actually storing the feeling that came with that. We are not storing our ex partner. We are not storing the words that were used. Yes, we remember those things too, but our body is struggling with the emotional feelings that we became stuck with. And that little part there is actually the biggest one you need to seek out every time you are having emotional thoughts. The emotion is the most important thing to focus on. Whatever you were feeling in that situation has no real photographic memory that is important. And why do I say that? The emotion itself is embedded in your emotional memory, which doesn't just live in this part of the brain here, it lives in your entire body. I bring that up because every time anything happens now and in the future that triggers that same emotion, and I'm actually saying it this way because this doesn't have to be another physically abusive relationship. This could be, I don't know, you cut somebody off in traffic accidentally and they wave a fist out the window. If you feel an emotion similar to the one from the past in your really physically abusive relationship, when that emotion gets triggered again by some totally random person you don't know, the situation is entirely different, you even have 50 feet between the two of you, if that emotion gets triggered, this is where you start breaking down again. This is why I'm saying everything happens for you. You always have the choice to feel like crap. And guess what other choice you have? You have the choice of just not giving a shit. That's right. When crappy things happen around us, we can just walk away. Why do you have to take that personal? Throw one more karma, throw one more feeling in your big meat box of feelings to drag around with you for the rest of your life. This is the baggage that the mystics talk about. If you want to meditate, you need to learn to put the baggage down so you can have a moment of peace. And that is very difficult. Even when we are at home relaxing on our couch, everything is fine, you don't have a care in the world. These emotions can pop up on their own any given time. You let your mind go for 2 seconds and all these things will randomly come back out whenever, wherever. And this is where you often see that excuse me, people that were having a perfectly good day, suddenly their mood turns around. They didn't get a text, they didn't get a call, nobody said anything to them, but suddenly their mood turns around. That is actually what is going on. Something in their body got triggered, it got pushed to the mind. Hey, remember this feeling? Feel this way. And your mind will just make up anything related to that feeling. That is why this false sense of security, it can never be resolved by asking other people lots and lots of questions. What needs to happen is we need to look in ourselves and find some self confidence. We need to find some self peace or self worth. If you know that nothing in this world can ever harm your soul, yes, people can beat you up, you can get run over by a truck, you can fall down the stairs. Hey, I don't wish this on anybody. I'm simply saying lots of things happen to our body. I've hit my finger several times with hammers when I was doing constructions on my roof and whatnot. We hurt ourselves throughout our lives. That's just what happens to a human body. Dumb things happen. Learn to laugh. Just learn to laugh. Even if it was something terrible, like you went skiing, you broke your leg, bam, now you're in bed for a couple of weeks, months maybe. But it is important that instead of choosing to be miserable again for breaking your leg, why aren't you happy and excited with yourself instead that you bothered to go skiing? Yes, your bills might fall a little bit behind, but you know what? Life isn't just about the money you're making. Life is about all the experiences you are collecting from birth to death. Money isn't an experience, it is a commodity we created to pretend that we have a functioning society. That's probably a subject I would like to talk about some other time, because when I was a kid, I would build forts in the trees with random stuff that I would find around. Even dead trees that had fallen over, we would just cut them up in usable wood and make tree houses out of ropes. Not once in my childhood did a dead tree on the ground say, hold on, you gotta leave $200 here because that's what I'm worth. You just picked it up and used it. That's why I'm saying we created money to pretend that we have a functional society, because money isn't real. It is a commodity we invented so somebody somewhere can get rich. Think about this. When you cut down a tree, it will never tell you, leave $200 here because that's what I'm worth. If your tree that you're cutting down could say anything, it would be this: if you cut me down, use me well and plant 2 new trees before summer is over. Bam. You took something from nature, you give it back twofold. If you can plant a whole yard full of trees, do it. Believe me, this planet can use plenty of trees. As a matter of fact, I plan to plant trees that grow edible things like apples, cherries, pears, because I love trees first of all. But since we can now really not really trust our government to do things right, if you knew what the farmers have to go through just to grow things, like the whole Monsanto thing, like I'm sorry, I don't want to drag conspiracies and whatnot in here, but I never understood that. Why aren't people just growing fruit trees on their property? Why is everybody wanting these tiny little shrubs that you can just trim once a year and walk away? Plant fruit trees, like why not? Nuts even, like walnuts. My God, hazelnuts. I love those things. Anyway, I'm going way, of course, here from a false sense of insecurity, but yeah, see, focus on the fact that you went skiing, you enjoyed it, and even though you were new at it, you were scared, you were nervous, these are all valid feelings, but they are only there until you give it a try. When you were a kid, did you ever learn to skateboard or just skating or ice skating? What else? Like anything, like kayaking, swimming, even? Did you ever jump on skates and not fall on your butt or your knees or your elbows? This is normal. This is how we learn new things. Nothing ever happens by just looking, staring, and oh, that looks easy. I'm going to give this a try and do it perfect. God, no. When you watch YouTube videos of people doing these amazing stunts on bicycles, skates, and God knows what, they've been doing this for years. You cannot get on a bike, wobble, get scared, fall over a couple times, and say, I quit, I can't do this. Well, no, give it some time. But you see, do not stand by your bicycle and ask yourself, if I try this, am I going to get hurt? If I try this, am I going to regret even bothering? If I try this, am I going to hate myself if I can't do this? That is the false sense of security. We are trying to validate that we should have a really good reason to bother getting on this bike in the first place. Why not get on the thing? Take your time. Don't ask yourself any questions of how you're going to like this. Just do it. That's all I'm saying. Just do it. Give it a try. And if it doesn't go well today, don't give up. Try it again tomorrow and the next day. Try something at least 10 times and not in one day. Do it over several days. Our body has this funny capacity for learning in our sleep. Yes, you're just asleep, aware of nothing. But here's what's happening. If you were on a bike today for just 10 minutes, you didn't get the pedal, you didn't get to use the brakes right. All you were doing was sitting on the saddle, and walking with your feet essentially and steering. That was it. If that's all you achieved, be happy with that little achievement. And here is what will happen when you go to sleep. Your body will process the motions it went through throughout the day. And if you feel very positive, like, I want to learn this, I want to succeed in this, guess what? In your sleep, somehow your body will change your balancing mechanisms and all the motor functions you have in your whole body to accommodate this new thing you are trying to learn. So, what does this have to do with security? Instead of standing by that bike, wondering in 10 million different ways if you should even bother getting on there, skip that whole process. Get the bike, grab it by the handles, take it to a flat piece of pavement, and give it a try. If you're too scared, make sure somebody else is there with you. If you're a young child, make sure your parent is there or your older sibling. Just in case you really get hurt, somebody is there to pick you up and help you, sit down and relax for a minute and help you. But you see, avoiding life for the sake of not wanting to get hurt or not wanting to get hurt again, that is not living life. That is living an insecure existence that won't lead to any life experience at all. I'm no saint. I have done this too. But now, at least I have an idea of the things that I'm curious about. I'll give you a silly example. I went skydiving like 5 years ago. Not bungee jumping, actually skydiving. And my first jump was a solo jump. I have said my whole life, if I ever jump out of an airplane, I'm doing it alone right away. I'd rather die on my own terms than just have this safe feeling, again, false sense of security, this safe feeling of having someone strapped on my back that knows what he's doing. I'm a little bit of a thrill seeker, so this was always on my bucket list. And oh my God, am I glad that I did that. But the same thing happened all the way up to the day of the skydiving. I would ask myself, God, what if the parachute doesn't open? Like, oh my God, what if I don't know where the landing zone is? I mean, you jump out of the plane 2 miles high from the sky. And although that doesn't sound far, like if you look down 2 miles down the highway, it looks like you recognize everything easy, right? But that's because it's in a straight line. When you're up in the air, you have almost no orientation, especially if you're not familiar with the hundreds of square miles that you can see from this airplane, and you're looking for something the size of a marble, if that even, probably smaller. Like, it's crazy. So yes, I had all sorts of questions like, am I going to find the landing zone? What if I don't? Like, what if I land in a tree? Like, oh my God, am I gonna die? Like, so anyway, that day came, and once I got there, somehow a feeling of comfort came back to me. Like, I realized, hang on a second, I've been wanting to do this all my life. For once the opportunity is here, I am gonna do this. Screw my insecurities. Really, I had a fuck it attitude. Like, I'm doing this. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Instead of trying to answer all your insecurities, lean a little bit more towards a happy fuck it attitude. That's an expression. There's actually a spiritual book on Amazon called just that. Fuck it. It's a mind state. I even like to say it's very close to the mind of a spiritual person. We don't say fuck it to everything. We have this attitude of saying yes to experiences that we know we want to have. So yes, that skydiving. It was how long was that? Like a 5 or 6 hours course on the ground where you had all kinds of drawings on the board, and then like an additional 2 hours physical training. You had the actual backpack on your back. You were wearing your jumpsuit and all that. But before the class started, no kidding, they make you sign a paper where you essentially waive your debt. If you fall out of the sky and you don't stop falling and you hit the earth, that's when I had a 5 second moment of, wait, hang on a second, there's a chance I'm gonna die here, isn't there? Like, okay, fuck it, I'm doing this today. And I'll tell you what, I did jump out of the plane. Um, and it was one of the most amazing experiences. It's I I came to the instant conclusion that all the questions that I spent hours and days and probably weeks on, wondering how terrible of an idea this was, wondering if I'm gonna die, if I'm gonna get hurt, if my parachute's gonna open, all of it suddenly didn't matter. I'm like, oh my God, I am free falling to the earth right now. And I remember as we let go as a group, it was me and three instructors. I had a third. The two instructors would hang on to my elbows and my knees, or my shoes or whatever. They would only free fall with me until it was time to pull the parachute. Then I was on my own. Uh, why did I even say that? Oh, right. The second, sorry, the second we let go of the airplane, we actually fall backwards. And I remember to this day that those 3 seconds where I'm falling backwards, I really, with my eyes open, had no idea what was up, what was down, right. I had zero. All my motor functions were somehow turned off for these 2 seconds, like some sort of a subspace. Like, what? I was like, poof, lights out up here. Like, I had just this incredible thrill inside. Like, yes. So yeah, that lasted I'm speaking about it, and it's taking me a minute to explain that. But I tell you what, that moment probably lasted 2-3 seconds. We fell backwards from the airplane, and once we leveled out and we were free falling towards the sky, that's when everything came back in contrast to me. I'm like, okay, I can see all the little squares down there. Those must be the fields. And my brain again, like, crap, where am I supposed to land? But you were trained on the ground to do very specific things, so that kicked in pretty quickly. I was supposed to check my altimeter frequently, and at 5,000 feet, you pull your parachute, which is essentially a mile above the ground. But the point I'm making is, no matter what I felt insecure about before this experience, it was all purely crap that my mind was coming up with to rationalize this dumb idea that I had. And by dumb idea, I obviously mean the skydiving. My insecure mind thought it was a dumb idea. My soul wanted to have this experience, and that's the only thing that said, do this. If I would have listened to my mind all day, all week, I probably would have never done this. I would have arrived there and said, I must be nuts. I'm out of here. I didn't do it. I put my foot down. I said, no, I'm doing this today. I don't care how it goes. I'm trying this. And that's exactly what happened. And now I know what it feels like to fall from an airplane. And when we were back on the ground and we were all laughing and talking about everything, um, fun fact actually, this happened to be a first date with somebody. I was actually in a relation for a little bit with this person, but yeah, that was our first date, jumping out of an airplane. Not together because the plane could only carry one diver at a time, and the instructors, these planes are terribly small inside. But anyway, once I was back on the ground, I didn't regret a single thing. And all I could feel was the feeling of the experience. I wasn't thinking the feelings, I was feeling the feelings. And that is something that I would love to teach everybody that struggles with insecurities that are based on the past, most likely. Whatever you're thinking about, try to figure out where the feeling is stored. And I'm not necessarily mean, tap your knee, see if there is a feeling there. Of course, you're going to feel your knee getting tapped. No, what I mean is the feeling is, like I said earlier in the video, if you had an abusive relation, your feeling is stored in your emotional energy field. That is not something you can touch physically, but by using your rational mind, you can get to the bottom of it until you find the feeling itself. You see, the insecure mind and the ego combined, or the one or the other, I think it's both of them, they will use your emotions against you to protect you from having to feel them again. So think about that. Is this in your best interest or not? Well, yeah, I don't ever want to get hurt again. It's in my best interest, of course. Okay. So you're avoiding every life experience and you think that's in your best interest. Is that though? Like, you are going to end up on your deathbed one day and you are going to complain that you did not experience half the things you hope to experience in your life. I know a lot of people don't like to think or even hear about death, or life, your life will come to an end. But if you can come to peace with just that fact, this is a fact, you are going to die. I'm sorry to say it. Make peace with that. Smile at it. Know it is coming one day, and know that you still have the time now to experience that thing you are afraid to try. That is a way to use death to your advantage. I, as a child, was terrified of the thought of dying. And the same, I've already made videos about, well, one video about this. Religion had no answers for me whatsoever. Accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, boom, you will be fine. How is that an answer to my question? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of religion. I know it's there to help people, and if it helps you, I'm happy for you. I needed deeper answers. I needed more meaning to life. And if religion wasn't going to find it, I was going to find it for myself. And that is what I've concluded. We try to protect ourselves from getting hurt by asking questions instead of just stepping in the experience with no prejudgments. That's something else that we are really good at as people. We will judge every situation before we even bother to try it. I mean, again, there is a difference between judging and rational thinking. Could something go wrong? Well, absolutely. Things can go wrong every day, any day. Every second of the day, something can go wrong. You're sitting on your couch. Well, what if your roof collapsed because it's old? You're not safe anywhere. But what I am saying, the opportunity to have a new experience is always there. Just as is the opportunity to always be in doubt of whether you should do something or not. Always be in your mind about, am I going to get hurt or not? This is a process that will be infinite until you decide to reverse it. I believe this process can be reversed. The process of storing emotional feelings related to what's happening in your surroundings, and you can reverse that. I'm trying to think of how I could explain that part. When you have an emotional feeling, especially when you're alone, nobody is triggering anything. Like I said, you are relaxing on your couch and suddenly your mood changes. This is an emotion that comes up. And if you are aware enough, you will feel your emotional mood change. Whether something in your energy will change. You will suddenly feel even more lazy. You will suddenly have a feeling of, I don't want to live right now. I'm not saying you want to kill yourself. I'm just mean like, I don't want to move at all right now. I just want to be here, be lazy, and like, ugh, like everything is terrible. Like, God, what did I do today? Like, this feeling will always show up a few seconds before your rational, well, not your rational mind, just your critical, whatever, your overthinking mind takes over that feeling. And if you can learn to grab that feeling as soon as you feel a change in your emotion, that's where you can do a lot of magic, a lot of self healing. If you let your mind take over that feeling, and it will, it does that for everybody until you finally realize what is going on. If you can catch that feeling and not let your mind take it over, you can just experience the feeling like I was just talking to you about the skydiving. Let go of all the thoughts that are going to come from this feeling. Just sit there quietly for a moment and feel the feeling. Don't think how it feels, don't know how it feels. Just feel the feel. Literally, this doesn't involve any thinking whatsoever. And this might take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But when you have, I want to say, when you have absorbed that feeling, let it go again. You are now bypassing that ego, that insecure mind. You are not giving it the food that it craves to do its thing. See, if you allow your thinking mind to take over that feeling, all you're going to get is just memories from the past that have you hurt in the past, that had you feel like crap, that had you feel useless, hopeless, depressed. All these things. Relations are bad, coworkers are bad, commitment is bad, marriage is bad. If you let these feelings just go unnoticed and they come to your head and your ego and your thoughts, that's what they're going to feed you. It's like a bad TV show that is pretending to exist for your um for your safety essentially. But I promise you it does not really give you any safety. As a matter of fact, if it gives you anything at all, it is to make sure that you are not going to live a fulfilled life. Bad things happen, so do good things. And the trick is to appreciate both equally And especially not hate yourself for allowing a bad experience to happen. It is so important that you know and understand experience is just that. It is this ego and this mind, again, that's going to throw labels out there to put it in boxes. Our mind loves to do that. If I can put it in a box, it's fine. I can let it go. No, you're putting it in a box and again, shoving it in the closet, stored as a feeling. And if that feeling gets triggered by something else in the future, guess what? You're going to have to deal with it. Again, this is why none of us can live in peace. All of us live and walk around with these stored feelings from the past, but we don't even know it's there. We just let it come to our minds. It'll, tell us a bunch of crap, and there you go. You're stuck in a depression again. That's the trick. Learn to feel your feelings. If you're thinking them, stop listening. And if you cannot stop, try to observe them. So when the thoughts are happening, don't say, God, yeah, I hate myself. Because a thought is telling you you were a terrible person in the past. You weren't loving enough towards your partner, or your partner wasn't loving enough to you. You are telling yourself, God, yes, I hate myself for that. How could I have been so dumb that I wasn't more caring for my partner, that I wasn't more whatever towards my partner? I could have done so much better. Yes, you could have done lots of things different. Guess what? That will always be true. But whatever happened has happened. There is no changing that. There is no coming back from that. All you can now change is let it go. It's that simple. Let that go. If you feel a feeling related to that past, sit there and feel it for a minute. Go sit in a quiet room if it helps you. If your kids are screaming, don't just yell at everybody. Everybody, shut up. I'm trying to focus on my feelings. This is something you need to do on your own. Be somewhere where you are not disturbed by other things that you know are going to trigger your attention. Even the TV, the radio, your cell phone, things that carry the need for your attention, turn them off, walk away from them, take a break. If you don't have a space like that, I'm sorry. Get in your car and go sit in a quiet parking lot for a minute. Well, I mean, if you live in a safe area at least, or go for a hike in the woods on your own. Even when you're doing a physical activity that is not mentally demanding, such as walking, and if you know how to ride a bicycle fluently, that would work too. Do something that is not physically demanding where you can just observe your feelings, especially if you were fine all day and suddenly your mood changed. If you can observe them instead of judging them, I stand by what I say. Feel your feelings has nothing to do with judging your feelings. Why am I feeling like crap? That's judging. What you should do is just feel like crap for 5 minutes. This will come and this will go, and you will carry on with whatever mood you were in before. This is what I'm trying to teach you here. If you feel like crap for 2 minutes and you give your thoughts validity, hey, did you feel that down there? What are we gonna do about this? Oh well, you should feel like crap. Boom, and your thoughts take off. Don't do this. No, no, no. Just feel the feeling and do not listen to your thoughts if they begin. I promise you, this is annoying at first. You're gonna tell yourself, "I can't do this," which is a thought too. But just like riding a bike, just like running on roller skates or a skateboard, this is learned behavior. I find it mind blowing now that this isn't something they teach in school. We go through life and we seem to become more and more and more damaged slowly over time. And what is our response to that? Trying less and less and less new things because we don't want to become even more damaged. First of all, the damage is in your head. I mean, if you physically got hurt, like you broke a leg, and now you're, or worse yet, you're missing a leg from, I don't know, an accident or something, that's, of course, that's something you're going to have to learn to live with. And I'm not saying that's pretend it's not there. Of course, you need to make life changes. I get that, and take your time doing that. But don't ever say, screw my life because this happened. I'm giving up. God, no. Why? Why would you ever give up living life? It is the most amazing thing if you can let go of this weird thing up here that is causing thoughts for no reason whatsoever. Critical thinking, that's different. That is something you do in the moment just to make sure you are going to survive this, but just for the sake of not getting hurt emotionally or for the sake of not wanting to feel failure for trying something and not succeeding. Those are thoughts you have to let go. Don't validate them, don't rationalize them, don't do anything with them. Just know that that thing is always up there chattering away and you have a choice again. Are you going to listen to that? Are you going to take that crap? Or are you actually going to give yourself a shot here and have an hopefully amazing experience? So I had to learn this too, and I think it's almost similar to the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey. I know it's like, I don't know, 10, 20 years old, but it's similar to that. Don't just say, I mean, just try and say yes to reasonable things that are being offered to you. Whether it's your neighbor offering you a helping hand working on your car engine or, changing an oil filter, from something very simple like, hey, can I walk your dog with you? Because I would like to go for a walk. You see, this isn't a thrilling life experience. Well, no, it's a smaller thing, but learn to appreciate even the tiniest thing. I have weird moments where I will go lay down on my lawn with my face 6 inches from the grass, where I'm just feeling how that makes me feel. I don't know how else to say that. I'm just laying on my grass, looking at it in great detail, like as if I'm trying to observe it growing like a tenth of a millimeter. But what I'm really doing is feel the feeling. Wow, I've never laid on my grass like a total idiot to see what it looks and feels like from up close. You see, I'm laughing because I find that humorous, and yet I do this for real. Hug a tree for all I care. Why not? Have you ever done that? Not because I want you to think you're a tree hugger. It's a weird thing to just like, let me see what that feels like. So you see, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know why I'm feeling really joyous talking about this subject. I don't know why I didn't bring it up until now. But I was recently chatting with someone and that same thing was happening. They were trying to feel if it was safe to, come out and meet me. So yeah, lots of questions. So what kind of movies do I like? Please tell me, how are you gonna feel more safe to meet me by knowing what kind of movies I like? I know, I get it. We're trying to find out if we have common interests, but guess what? The number thing that's going to matter is, seriously, are you vibing together when you meet in person? I'm actually a believer. You don't have to have much in common with a partner to have a good relation. I'm not saying make sure everything is opposite. I'm just saying sometimes the differences make sure that you are going to have experiences beyond your normal. Let's say you enjoy bowling and your partner enjoys golf, and neither of the other has ever tried the other. So the bowler has never golfed, the golfer has never bowled. If you're just going to ask, hey, what are your hobbies? Oh, mine's bowling. Oh, I like golf, so this is not going to work. Why? You see, you are actually being presented here with an opportunity to enjoy something. One, with a person you don't know, you might have amazing conversations. Two, are you going to look stupid giving golf a try? Probably, but why not enjoy that feeling for a moment? You see what I mean? Like all these questions that we ask purely for the sake of, shutting up our brain, like, shut up, I want to have a date here. Why am I going to reason with what are your hobbies? I mean, can you ask that? Yes, but don't be so shallow to think that, well, we have nothing in common. Pfft, no thanks. If you two get along, that's all you need. I mean, if you are so close-minded that bowling is the only thing that you care about and you want to try nothing else, even if it's for free. Like going for a walk around the river or something. Like, I'm sorry, I feel bad for you. If you have given up on life to that point that you only want to do that one thing that you're focused on, I feel bad for you. I'm sorry. But I just realized when that happened a couple days ago, I wanted to make a video about the false sense of security that we have towards ourselves. We believe if we ask lots of questions, the chances of a bad experience go down dramatically. I'm going to argue. I'm sorry, I'm not going to argue that. You need to make up for yourself what is right for you. But in my personal life right now, I'm the opposite. I will go see the person first and feel what I'm feeling near and by that person. I'm not saying get naked in front of each other, see what happens. No. When people talk, they give off a certain emotion. Feel that emotion. That is what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what they are talking about. It's something in the tone and even the choice of words that they might use when they build sentences. Something in the combination of that gives away an emotional state of a person. I don't know if I picked that up in my life because I have bad hearing. I'm 50% deaf in both my ears since birth. I never had normal hearing, so I don't even know what that's like. And because of that, I seem to somehow hear the emotions of people. You know how I was just speaking about skydiving? Say I meet you in public and you're a random stranger and you're talking about skydiving. It sounds like you're talking about something very thrilling, right? And somehow I can feel what your overall emotional state is actually like. Not during this specific talk, but your overall mood in life. That is really weird. I don't even know if I can do a video on that because I just cannot explain it. But this is why I'm pointing out have a life experience first and then I was going to say and then ask questions about it afterwards, but no, I actually want to say then you can just store a happy feeling and validate that this insecure ego up here is completely unnecessary. Try to take a step in life without even justifying why you should or shouldn't take that step. That is actually what I'm trying to say. Take a step without justifying the step. And if you must make any justification for this step at all, you can write this on your forehead. I'm about to have a life experience. Don't even say it good or bad. Just life experience. Why not good or bad? Because you don't want to have a prejudiced mind for anything you're about to try. Many of us, we are convincing ourselves something is going to be terrible. Guess what? You end up there, everything's terrible. Why is that? Because you already made up your mind it's going to be terrible. You built your emotional field to make sure it picks up everything that is not fun in that particular experience. That's funny, right? But that's really how it works. Our emotional mechanism is the least talked about, but all of us struggle with it, and no one is pointing out where the problem is. We go to a therapist, a psychiatrist, anyone that wants to poke in our head. The problem is not in our head, it is in a place that cannot be touched physically. It's in our emotional system, and the only commodity that we have to touch on it is peace and silence, where we can just feel our feelings. I know I keep repeating that, feel your feelings, but that is really everything that life boils down to. Every experience comes stored as a feeling. And if it was a bad experience, it will come out stored as a bad feeling, which in your adult life is going to get lots of names by a psychiatrist and a therapist, um, amongst which depression, anxiety, some disorder of whatever. That's insane. I'm sorry. I'm not saying all your disorders are fake, not real, not at all. I know we all struggle with plenty of things. Believe me, I have struggled in my life too. But I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Why am I afraid of this when I haven't even tried this? That's ridiculous. Where is this fear coming from? up here in your head. You see, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. It's you stop yourself from experiences purely based on dumb thoughts your brain will come up with. Oy, that was wow. Like I'm feeling really energized right now. That's amazing because I haven't made a video for a couple days because I was actually not feeling too well. Yesterday I ate nothing all day, so I was kind of fasting all day. And then when I came home at night, I ate leftover hamburger helper. Yes, I know, junk. I haven't eaten that in months for some weird reason. I craved it during the weekend. And guess what? After a whole day of not eating, I ate that, and an hour later, I got a headache. I threw up the food, and bam! I just realized, I really haven't eaten all day now, and you know what? I'm going to sleep. Whatever is going on in this body, I'm going to sleep. I'm gonna sleep this off, literally. But you see, I in the last 24, I almost want to say 48 hours, I was feeling down, although nothing in particular had happened in my life. So you see, there's another good example. I could have questioned myself, what is wrong? Why? What is bothering me? Like, what did I do that is making me feel, nauseous, headache, like I'm gonna throw up? I mean, I did throw up eventually, but you see what I mean? Like, I didn't try to, question my body. Like, what the heck is going on? I just felt the feeling and let it do its thing. Don't worry about everything you're feeling. Not not immediately, at least. If something is hurting plenty and it's persistent, by all means, go see a doctor. Obviously, but if you know for yourself this is an emotion rather than a physical ailment, give it time. This is an old stored emotion. It is just coming out of you. You don't have to validate. I mean, just that's all I'm saying. Validate it by feeling it, but don't let that go up to your head where you need to deal with all the crap coming from your thoughts and your ego. And like I said, I fell down for the last 1, 2 days. And guess what? I threw up last night, and today I'm feeling a lot better. But physically, there was probably nothing wrong with me. You know what? Speaking about throwing up, I'm sorry, that's a little gross to talk about. I get it. But I personally believe that although our emotions cannot be cut out of us by some surgery or whatever, some diet changes or some exercise, some cardio, physio, whatever, I am a strong believer that although our emotions are not a physical thing, they do leave an emotional, a physical, what's the word? Blockage in our body. Something somewhere in our body is blocked. And yes, I take that so extreme that I dare say I believe a lot of tumors and cancers are a result of an emotional landfill inside of your body. You have stored so much garbage, your body cannot process it, cannot process it any longer, and it has to do something with that. So something non-physical, like your emotions, are actually manifesting in something physical, a tumor, a cancer, a swelling, weird things. Think about it. Our body is naturally meant to be in a healthy state. Cancers and tumors were not a thing until, I don't know, the 1900s. Sure, there were a few here and there, but now it seems like 25% of the population, and it's a growing number, is laying in bed with some weird, unexplainable thing. And guess what we do? If, let's say I'm right for 1 second, let's say our emotions create a physical landfill in our body. What do we do in the hospital? We fill the landfill with more crap. I'm talking about chemotherapy. That is our response to a cancer. Have you ever considered that just take 10 minutes a day to sit in silence and feel your feelings is actually a way for the crap to come out of you? Um, I just realized you might as well sit on the toilet and let the crap come out of you. But no, I mean, that would be a place of silence too, probably. But I really am talking about your emotions here. Yes, like I said, things happen to us, and yes, maybe sometimes we could have done something to change the situation, but even that, let that go. Again, it happened, let it be. If a feeling comes up having to do with that, just feel it for a moment. Let it do its thing, which is being felt by you. Now let it go and carry on with your day. Ugh, there's this song. What was it called? It's a rainy day, and it's got some Jamaican guy that raps in it every now and then. Sorry, I don't like talking about songs and videos. I just want to voice my thoughts. But the guy literally says the bad times in life is like a telephone. When it ring, receive. When you are done receiving, hang it up and carry on because the sun will always shine. I don't know if that rings a bell for you, but I heard that when I was a kid, and back then it was just lyrics to me. But now, as I've thought so much about life, emotions, and experiences, like what is good, what is bad, that doesn't even exist. Good and bad. We make it up to be good and bad. That's just our judgmental system in our body, again, in our mental garbage system up here that deals with good and bad. Everything is plain and simple an experience. The way you judge the experience, again, to put it in little boxes to make peace with yourself, that's what we do to ourselves. But it's unnecessary. But yes, when I heard those lyrics and I thought about them later in my life, I'm like, man, the dude is totally right. That's exactly what bad experiences are like. Don't run away from them, don't avoid them. Pick up the receiver, receive the bad emotions, the bad experience. When you're done with it, hang it up and walk away. It's that simple because the sun will shine. That's a funny statement, actually. The sun will shine again. When has the sun ever stopped shining? I'll tell you when you stop looking. When you were having a shit day and you were looking at the ground all the time, the sun isn't shining because it's way up there. But because you feel down, guess which way you're looking? Down. Good feelings, we look up. Yes, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. I'm having a great day. You're looking up and the sun is shining. How amazing. So, yes, that is how I feel regarding the false sense of security. What are you safeguarding by asking lots of questions? Your feelings. As simple as that. And your feelings are not invalid, but you shouldn't be so protective of them in a sense of every experience is potentially a bad experience. So let me just be highly on my guard. This guard that you build up is the same as saying, I'm not going because it's going to suck. You go and it sucks. Why? Because you forecasted it. Your emotions are like, oh, you want suck? We'll give you suck. You are putting on colored glasses that correspond to the emotion that you said you were expecting. I'm expecting a bad experience, but yes, I'll come with you even though I don't feel like it. Hey, you want to go to the game with us? All right, yes, let's go. Boom, get up and go. I don't like any public mass mass sports like football, baseball, soccer. It never spoke to me. I can totally see why lots of people are excited about that. They've built entire communities and fan groups about that. That's amazing. But I have learned to appreciate much smaller things in life. And I personally feel I've come out of this struggle of always, emotional roller coaster, good day, good thought, bad thought, like, ugh, this, ugh, that. I'm much more stable now. Even when a bad experience comes around, and again, I'm just saying that so you understand what I'm talking about. When an experience comes around, I just receive it and I walk away. I don't walk away. God damn, that guy was so rude. God damn, whatever she was wearing looked like crap. No, just be there, experience the experience, and walk away with no thoughts whatsoever. When you can free yourself from, excuse me, hmm, When you can free yourself from the link between feeling and thinking, you can, the way you think will be different. I don't know how to explain that. I guess it's a form of enlightenment. I don't know. But your thinking will no longer control your emotions, and your emotions will no longer control your thinking. You will learn to use your thoughts for critical thinking. I mean, we already use our thoughts for that, obviously, but you're no longer wasting them. Maybe I'll put it that way. We don't waste them anymore on insecurity based questions. There's a quote hanging on my wall. I'm one of these people that when I hear or see good quotes, I like to hand write them down on little sticky notes, and I put them on the wall. I have a wall with dozens of sticky notes in my hallway. I don't really walk through that hallway a lot, but every now and then I do, and I'm starting to notice more and more that randomly I will just look at one particular note, and it'll trigger something in me like, yeah, you're right. I know that. Just a 5 second happy moment right there. Boink. But yes, you don't have to rationalize life anymore or everything that might come your way. You just know you can let it happen. I think another thing you could look at, especially for people looking into you know, people that are alone and considering dating and they don't want to have another bad relationship, consider for a moment, or I should say a few months, not a few hours or days, but for a few months, make a commitment to only yourself. If you are going out there on a date, don't be committed to, I'm going to find a good person. Be committed to just being there, nothing more and nothing less. Whatever happens in that moment, let it be, accept it, and go back home knowing you had another experience. Um, Dating is difficult, especially when we are feeling alone. But here lies the problem: you are thinking that you're going to be happy again once you have a partner. You see, again, that is this feeling inside, and it comes related to a memory and a thought. Was your childhood so terrible that being alone to you is a negative emotion? I think a lot of us also confuse being alone with being bored. And you see, whichever one of the two it is, the end result is the same. We are now looking for someone to fill or fix that quote unquote problem. I'm bored, I'm alone, someone else needs to fix this. When you are alone, this is actually the best time to work on you. Have a relation with you for a couple of months. Just do whatever else you have to do. Go work your job, go look after your children, whatever it is you have going on in your life without your partner, or a partner, I should say. Just do that without a partner and observe your feelings as the days go by. Yes, you're going to feel depressed for a while. Yes, bored. Yes, lonely. God, I wish I could cuddle somebody. If it's that bad, just go give one of your friends a hug. Like I'm just saying, be alone with your feelings for a while, be alone with your thoughts for a while. And instead of thinking, I'm a terrible person, God, I hate people, just observe those feelings, but don't do anything with them. Just feel them so they can come out and fade away back into the ether, wherever they go. I don't know. Essentially, what you're trying to do is reset your emotional baggage. Remember what I said earlier? Like every time we have an emotion that is linked to a bad memory, and then in the future something else happens, it stirs that emotion, and in response, the memories linked to the emotion all come flooding back, and now you have to deal with them again. What we are trying to do is break this system by getting rid of the stored emotions that we have towards our past. You see, that is not the same as pretending that the past didn't exist. It is actually a way of self forgiving and letting go. If your past, your partner was incredibly verbally abusive to you, like frequently, like several times a week, and you now relate somebody yelling loudly at you with, a negative feeling, like a feeling of self-hate, a feeling of God, I hate people. If you in the future have a good, loving partner, and one day he or she comes home from work, had a really crappy day, and they come home, and the first thing that they say is, God damn it, what a shit day. Nobody talk to me for the rest of the night. I want to be alone. You see what's going to happen here? That stored emotion from your past life is suddenly going to jump to life. And this is where you're going to get stuck again. Your new partner isn't terrible. He just had a very crappy day. He is letting it out in a place where he shouldn't, and at the same time, he lives here. He is allowed to be himself and express himself. You need to realize just that he is expressing himself, not to us, for us. He is expressing himself for us. If an emotion gets stirred up, he didn't do that to us. We're doing that. Our emotion from the past is coming up for us. And here we have a choice. Are we going to hate this new partner now because you just yelled, like, hey, what are you yelling about? Or are we going to respect he just had a crappy day? Here for 2 seconds, okay, he said he wants to be alone for the night. That's great. Whoa, why am I feeling? God, he yelled at me. Here come all the feelings. No, no, no. Let your partner be for a bit. Go sit somewhere quiet. Feel that feeling and let it come out. You're going to realize your new partner did nothing to you, but you had a very strong emotional reaction and now a mental reaction. Your brain is buzzing with things about the past. This is why it is important to feel the feelings, not judge the feelings, not judge the reality around us. Life is going to happen whether you are judging it or not. It's a fantastic trick to be an invisible observer in any life situation. I say invisible because that way you have some idea, like, things happen and we don't have to feel bad. If you're invisible, quote unquote, you're not there. You are present, but you're not there. Like, quote, air quotes. You take things far less personal, and a day will come, I promise you, that you just accept things happen. Not good things, not bad things, just things. See? No judgment there. They happen, and you will just nothing. You will be in your mood, whatever your natural mood is, and I seriously hope it is a peaceful, happy, content, relaxed mood. And when something happens, either extremely good, extremely bad, that mood of yours will stay yours. The situation no longer controls you. I'm not saying from this point forward you're going to control the situation. Actually, it's the opposite way. I mean, it's no way at all. It is just, it won't touch you anymore. Even if it happens to you, you're going to realize this happens for you. This is an opportunity for you to practice letting go. The past, and even this moment that is happening to you right now, don't store this instead as a new negative energy or a new bad feeling or experience. Realize you just happened to be there to experience that. Great. Now walk away and go experience sitting on your couch again with nothing on your mind whatsoever. I'm sorry, I know that was a long video. I really hope you enjoyed that. I have for some really funny reason, I really enjoyed this subject. Please comment on my videos if there is a particular thing that you struggle with in your life. I would love to hear it. If I think I have solutions for you, I will definitely make a video about that. And subscribe, like, and comment on the videos, peoples. I will see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day.